All right, so we're going to start this out with just some normal questions, and then we'll get into some fan questions a little bit in. The first thing is, you guys obviously have been doing Rick and Morty for a little bit now. Summer is a huge character since, the beginning, so are your characters. We'll start with Spencer. What was it like getting the role as Summer, not really knowing what it was going to turn into?
I would say, well, first of all, thank you guys all for coming today. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
And getting the role of Summer was one of the greatest, I guess, days of my life. Actually, sorry, this is so hot. The mic is like so excited. It's like, Okay, so I actually never got the email that I got the role of Summer. It was forwarded to me eventually by, I think, one of my agent's assistants, where everyone was like congratulating everybody on like, oh, the show got picked up. And then like suddenly a few weeks later, I eventually realized that the show had gotten picked up, but I didn't really know for a little bit. And then there was a lot of recast kind of as it went on, and eventually we landed on the cast that we have now. So I've been there since the beginning when we recorded the pilot. But it's been wonderful to see the phenomena of the growth of the show, and to see how many people have enjoyed watching it over the years.
Harry?
Well, obviously very different for myself and Ian since we came in this past season 7. So different because we had the experience and benefit, I guess, of watching Rick and Morty for almost 10 years and getting to know those characters really well just as fans and audience members. So stepping into those roles was very different for us. It was more about capturing and embodying the spirit and energy and essence of the characters and allowing them to live on through all the changes that were happening. So it was a million different emotions, and it was obviously I was thrilled to be told that I got the role, but then there was so much pressure to do a good job and make sure that we achieved the goal of a seamless transition. So like I remember being a fan and being like, oh, whoever does that is gonna have a real, it's gonna be tough. So, and then I had to do it. So.
And then it was you.
And then it was me.
Yeah, the audition process was about 6 months long for me too. So it was from start to finish.
Long?
Wow.
It was that long. So there was a lot of, do the work, send it off into the air, and then hope to hear back, and you're just waiting on that. And then over that period of time, with each new round, it was, okay, so what passed for an impression to make my friends laugh was not gonna cut it for being able to do several recordings a week and do episode after episode. So how I would approach that changed over the audition process itself, and then, yeah, once the job was booked, amazing day, but then it was, now we have to start.
Yeah.
After 6 months of working really hard to try to get there, it was like, okay, now it begins. So, and now we're on. We have a few new season orders through season 12, so that's really exciting for us, at least. Season 12 and maybe 100 years Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, so you guys have done obviously a good amount of episodes. If you had an episode to pick that you could relate to the most, to your characters, what would it be?
Fear hole, I think, actually, because, who doesn't have those deep, dark insecurities, right? And I actually find the fear hole episode really comforting because I kind of wish I could go into the fear hole and I'm afraid of so many things and I'm anxious about so many things. It would be nice to narrow it down to like, what's my main fear or anxiety, But that also like changes day to day. So yeah, who knows? But yeah, I don't know. I find that one
So vulnerable.
I think you're in the fear hole right now.
Maybe I am. All right, somebody else answer.
Maybe spaghetti episode, just because I like pasta and grew up having pasta nights with my own grandfather. So when I read the script for that, it hit a little close to home.
Well, it's not like you did like spaghetti Thursdays with your
We did
grandfather.
spaghetti Thursdays. I know. It's crazy. A little on the nose. And we always said Parmesan too in our family. It was just a weird thing.
I'm trying to think of, yesterday I said the speech where she talks about the incest baby, but today I'm not feeling that connected to that story. That was yesterday's hot topic. And I was like, well, maybe I'll just take one from season 7. So I guess, the fact that Summer continuously chooses like terrible partners to invest her time in. So the Quado episode, when she's like, oh my God, and then she gets abducted in a van, that feels sort of like my poor choices in dating at times. So I feel like I'm relating to that today. Yeah. Which is probably TMI, but whatever.
Never TMI.
So obviously, you guys have been working with Dan Harmon for a while. His creative process is just insane. What did you guys think when he comes up with like a new episode or something new and you first are just diving into it? Does it take a minute to kind of read it and understand what's happening because it's so wild and out there? Or have you guys gotten used to the unexpected out of him?
Well, it's so funny. I'm always like, the story circle, which is like his version of, I guess, Save the Cat or any kind of story structure, which really checks out if you're a writer or interested in how a story is told through that kind of perspective of like structure. But yeah, I mean, sometimes I'm like, whoa, great, I'm gonna say something really gross again. Or on occasion now, sometimes Summer will get all of the swear words, and I'll be like, does every line have to have in it? I'm just wondering if we could like leave table one of them this episode. Maybe somebody else can swear. But mostly, I'm used to his kind of crazy stories and ideas, and he has a whole team of writers, and I think they all kind of like just throw them in the pot and see which is the best idea that wins out of all of it. So yeah. And any thoughts, you guys?
Yeah, I mean, and again, we haven't been on for so long to say, oh yeah, I remember, these old stories of Harmon, let me tell you. But one thing we've gotten used to is the rewrites that come pretty late in the game, and that's usually, Harmon will, pretty late on in the process, might have a new idea for a scene and totally change something around in an episode that's pretty much already animated and done, and so we'll all have to go back and re-record. So that's something that's not, I guess that's kind of typical for the show. Is we'll have a late in the game, do a Harmon pass at the very last bit. So that's kind of cool to see where it goes late in the game. And some of season 7's episodes were like that. I think Amorte Rick and went through several rewrites after we had done our initial recording on it. So, what you see, what you hear is, after several versions of watching it and saying, all right, can we get a little better with this? And by we, I mean the writers going back and saying, can we get a little, deeper with this? So it's cool. It's a cool process.
Yeah, it was the same with Fearhole. There were a bunch of rewrites on that one, and we were recording that one like right up until just a few weeks before it came out, I think, and it was like, but obviously, that shows up in the final product because it's like that. I mean, that's my personally favorite episode. So like, yeah, it is cool to see like you get a script and you read it, and whenever I get a new script, I'm just like, okay, I can't wait to see where the story goes because it never ever goes where you think it will, and then you think it's like, okay, this is an amazing episode, and then they take it different passes and rewrites, and it just takes it from here to here every single time. So it's cool to watch that process.
Mm-hmm.
So Rick has one fear, it seems, so far they've exposed in the show, and it's pirates. I don't know if you're aware of that, but there's been a circulating...
You don't know if I'm aware of that?
Well, how aware you are.
He's a genius.
He's a genius, but he's afraid of pirates. If you could say, obviously, since yours is pirates, what would be your two characters' biggest fears in that show?
Well, if you watch the Fearhole episode, it's quite literally spelled out, Zach. Morty.
I mean, that's a whole episode, though. I'm talking about a thing. So he's afraid of pirates.
like
what physical thing?
When I ask you if it's spiders.
Is it spiders?
Is it spiders?
Yeah, what was
not.
it?
Morty's not afraid of spiders. Well, he did eat a spider in that episode, but like that's gross,
Yeah.
Give me a sec, Spencer. What do you think?
I just keep thinking about the thing that I'm the most scared of, and it's just like I can handle it. Okay, like it's not like I can't. I just really hate hair in the drain. Like I hate it so much, and it makes me really uncomfortable to think about. It happened because I had moved into this like semi-new apartment. Do you guys really want to know the story? This is like an actual story.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. Well, and also there's hair coming out of the fear hole in that episode too.
This is the fear
And
hole.
this is probably why I've like blocked out that episode. You're always like, the fear hole is my favorite episode. I'm like, yeah, totally. Like,
Because of the hair.
but the hair in the drain. So I moved into this semi-new apartment. I was in my 20s, and I noticed the drain was kind of clogged, and I was like, okay, that's fine. Like, but when I went to I was like, cool, I'll just like undo it. And like, I had never seen the amounts of long black hair I'd ever seen in my life come out of this. Like, it was like an animal lived in and it was really, really, because it was even my hair. But, and then like hair just starts to change form when it sits in a drain for a long time. Anyway, it really grossed me out. And then now I just am terrified of having to pull the hair out of the drain.
That's all, but it's so
And I
satisfying.
do it. It's not like I don't do it. I don't like hire an outside hair drain cleaner. I do it, like I do it myself, and I like suffer through.
Do you
'cause
wear
I
rubber
think-
gloves when you do it?
Huh?
You wear rubber gloves?
Sometimes, and sometimes I don't.
Wow.
And it's really gross, but I think everyone should, confront their fears.
That's true. That's true. I really don't like bugs. So that's
Like all bugs?
yeah. I mean, like, no, it's like,
I love bugs.
most, it depends how big they are, Like a little
The bigger
fly,
the better.
whatever. The bigger the worse. No, absolutely not. No. If there's like I just don't like it when like, if there's like a big, like if a beetle like flies in your face and it makes like that sound, like it really freaks me
that
out.
sound.
That like gets me in my bones. I hate it. And like, I don't know, like a big old hornet, like anything like that'll send me. Like I'll run away and I'll leave the room and I'll let whoever else is there deal with it. So I guess that's my answer, even though it's me.
It's like so unavoidable because there are bugs everywhere.
No.
like
We
they-
just destroy their environment enough and they'll all die.
This is true. There is an epidemic.
We're
There are far
we're well on our way to
bugs
that.
Harry loves playing Helldivers for this reason.
That's true.
Like when you get into character and like say like a laugh track and you're laughing at your own laugh and you get out of character, some tips or like experiences where you get yourself back into character or memorable moments, whatever's easier for you.
Yeah, I just shut down the happy part inside of me, I guess. But it's like I was just working on this little like TV pilot, and there's like a period of time if you're working for like 8 to 10 hours where you just start to, and it's like the middle of the night when you're working, you just all get pretty deliriously, and everything is funny. Like just breathe it. You're like, oh, you breathed, and then everyone's like giggling together because it's like it's infectious, and I just remember that like I think I just like being like, no, I don't have feeling. Like I like being that controlled that I'm like, no, I just shut it down. Nothing's funny anymore. And that's all I do. Yeah. But it takes practice, I guess. Where I'm like, no, I hate everyone right now because they can all connect to this funny feeling that I can't connect to right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are your tricks, Harry?
I mean, I think it's more just, I don't know. I don't think about like, okay, I need to get into character. It's more just like I'm thinking about the circumstances of whatever scene I'm in, of what's happening around me, and what's Morty going through in this scene, and I mean, there's like getting into the voice and stuff. But and then once I'm in, I don't know, maybe because it's such a distinct voice. When I'm in that voice, I feel like I'm in the character. I suppose that might be part of it. But then I mean, from there, it's just kind of, I don't know. Yeah, playing the circumstances and the scenes and the relationships,
Yeah, there's no, at least for me, there's no sort of ritual of getting in and out of character when I'm working on Rick in the booth. There's just sort of getting to a place of readiness to work and be able to hit the voice consistently, take after take. But we're constantly getting direction and, or there'll be a tech issue or, so we're doing several lines in a row and then we'll see, okay, do we want to get some other versions of that? So we need to be able to get feedback and interpret that while also being ready to go right into another take. So kind of never leaving that readiness state when you're in the booth. And then, I think just preparing ahead of time, reading the scripts so that you get the laughs out of the way or anything that's gonna make you break. But, sometimes a directional be funny, or something will come out a funny way. There's definitely moments of humor, and that's kind of part of the fun of riffing in the booth with everybody. And then just to get back on track, for me, I just refocus my attention on what I want in the scene, or what's going on. Okay, what does Rick want here? What am I trying to say? So it's just, take the moment, have the laugh, and then go back into the next take. That's kind of the cool thing about not working live as well. When you're in the booth, those moments can happen, and you're not on a stage or in front of a panel audience, worried about what could be said.
Right.
Or like versus on camera too, because I remember Sarah was saying that in one of our panels, that like on camera you can't try as many things. Like you get like, I don't know, 2 or 3 or however many takes, right? And then but in voiceover you can kind of do as many times as you want to really like find a fun thing, or try out different things, and if they don't work, whatever, like at least you tried them. So that's kind of a nice plus as well.
Yeah, and one thing that I don't know how many people realize, we probably do 12 at least takes of every line.
Oh, easy, yeah.
And that's the ones that they like and are good, and they'll cut and print. That's free of line flubs or anything like that. And so what ends up in the show is one of maybe 12 options that we've given, and what goes into that decision making, what fits the animation, what fits their idea of it. We give as many options as possible. That's our job. But we're not sitting. It's not as if we record the show and we give one line and that ends up, and if it sounds a little off or whatever, it's not. It's there's so many eyes and ears on every moment of the show. It's a real collaborative process.
What was your favorite episode to record in season 7? Like which episode did you have the most fun recording?
Just always the ones where I have the most lines. So I guess the Quato episode.
Unmort Rickon for me. My favorite one to watch is Fearhole, but the one I had the most fun doing was Unmort Rickon, because I got to play Evil Morty, and the stakes were super high, and it was just, I was still like in fan mode, like watching the episode, and I was just like, like what? This is crazy. So yeah, Unmort Rickon.
Yeah, and Mort Rickon for me as well. Got to beat myself up. That's fun.
What is your favorite thing about your characters?
That she's, independent, outspoken.
What else?
That's 3 things.
No, that's 2 things.
Oh, sorry. No, I'm thinking of the 3rd thing now, though. and smart.
There it is.
Sometimes.
That was a good answer. I like that Morty can shift and does shift a lot between kind of just being like a little bit of a doormat, and then when he decides he's had enough, really pushing back hard. It's always fun to see when Morty's just like, that's it, nope, I'm done, and I'm actually really gonna push back on this, usually to Rick. That's what I like.
I don't know. Probably the burping.
Okay, that's
It's a lot of fun, because now I can just, anytime I feel like burping, I can just let it rip, and I say, no, it's for work. It's fine.
Filling a role that's been previously fleshed out and emulating that so well for the both of you is so impressive. But I'm wondering, is there any aspirations to add to the performance? And if so, what would those be?
To add to the performance?
Like, the characters are already, there's so much personality put into them by the previous voice actor. So how do you go about, and if you do want to go about adding to that character or furthering the performance, what would that be?
I guess I would think about it less as like trying to add something, as more as like maybe discovering things. I mean, like, you know, in these new stories being told, right? These characters are going to be put in new situations, right? So, and that's kind of when we discover things about ourselves, is when we're put into new situations, and especially uncomfortable situations. So I guess it would be more kind of discovering, like, oh yeah, how is Morty going to react to this? And obviously the writing helps a lot because they tell you how Morty's going to react to it. But yeah, there is also a little bit of kind of discovery there and figuring out how you're going to portray that. So I would say it's more of a sort of a natural evolution that happens as part of the process than anything.
Understood.
That's a good question.
Yeah, I think as evidenced by the fans in this room and worldwide and the incredible team that works on the show, these characters, each of them are bigger than any one person. And so, there's the voice of Rick, sure, and some of the attitude and the choices that we'll make in the booth to give some life to that character, but that character already exists on the page and in the hands of our incredible animating staff and for the 10 plus years that the show's been on. So, there's a whole living, breathing character there, and it's just, as actors, we step into roles that have, in other works, roles that have been played many, many times. We were going to do Shakespeare. How many people have played Hamlet? How many people have played, these iconic characters that live on a page until someone steps into them? So, it's just, we just approach it as we would any role, as a craft. And
Is that daunting?
is it daunting? Every time, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, the nerves are always there. I think if you care about what you're doing, there's going to be nerves. They're not going to go away.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I have a moment before every time I step in the booth. I'm like, gee, can I do this episode? And then once you let it take over, you trust that the work's there. But that's any role. And obviously, there's pressure when you're aware of kind of the external factors. These are iconic roles on a very, a show that's important to so many people, including us. And so, you want to do a good job with it. But when you're doing the work, I just feel like I can't be thinking about how it's going to be perceived. I just have to do my best work and trust that it'll show up and that we have a great team that's going to take care of us in the room. The way that you would on any stage play, the way that you would on any TV show. Hopefully you have a crew that's there to support you and you can just trust that your work will show up.
What was your favorite line to record, just as long as you've been doing the show?
Oh my God. So many lines.
Word. Yeah, hang on, give me a sec. Spencer knows. Spencer has an answer ready to go.
But, they just always say, say the first thing that comes to your head, and I'm like, I don't know, I don't feel safe. But that's not truly my favorite episode, line to record, You have dropped so many balls, man.
That's a good one.
That's a funny one. I always like recording the really long ones. I like a long line, because I feel like I can really get into it, and give it an arc. When it's just one word, or three, oh my God, there's too many ways to do oh my God that it's
Oh my God.
oh my God,
Oh my God.
oh my God, and it's that I don't know which one's good at all. But yeah, so that's probably a more general answer to your question.
There's a moment in the Observer episode, the clip show from season 7, where Rick's drunk on the couch and
Morty, one go Western bacon. Western bacon now.
And Morty goes and gets it.
and he tosses a burger on Rick's lap.
Oh yeah,
That was
so
really
good.
fun. Really drew on experience for that one, personally. Just get the perfect burger at the right
So
time.
good. That line makes
man.
me laugh every single time.
It's fun.
So funny.
Yeah.
You know what? Open your mind from the Quado episode. Because I got to do that line 4,000 times. And it was sometimes people ask me, did you just record that once or twice and then they just played it over? It was no, we
it
went
was
through
100,000 times.
No, we did it we went through any normal line and it was
Yeah.
all right, do it 3 times for this line. All right, do it another 3 times, do it another 3 times. Okay, next line, over and over again,
Yeah.
And that's, we put the work in.
Got to scream Pope a bunch of times too. That was really fun. Just the Pope epic
Oh, yeah.
scream. Yeah.
Pope!
And
It's over the Pope.
I actually like that episode.
It's over the Pope.
I was thinking about how I was recording the Bigfoot summer lines.
I love
And I just think it's
You're big.
he's so tiny.
Tiny, so small.
He's so small. Yeah, that's what it is.
There's also a really funny
It was silly.
scene when in the therapy episode, and you're like,
I need a boundary. I need boundaries.
and you slam the door in my face.
Yeah, you love that one. What do I say?
Here's a big one. Face.
Yeah, here's a big one. Face.
It's
Yeah,
so good.
yeah, that one. It's good. But the line that I always think of all the time is how did I get here? And I do it everywhere. Right now I'm how did I get here? It's like this, but it's not my line. It's just in the interdimensional cable too. Yeah. But I think it all the time.
Going into the spaghetti episode, what was your initial reaction to the script?
Well, I had like I had like 3 lines, maybe a little spicy, a little sweet.
Some of my favorite lines.
A little spicy, a little sweet.
One more time.
A little spicy. I think I really knew that episode when I finally watched it at the end, and I was like, oh, I actually, one of my favorite episodes. I think it's a really interesting commentary on how we consume food and how we care about how we're materialistic and culture and society. So I enjoyed it. I think it's great how you can change somebody's perspective to like through a story or through manipulation
Yeah.
to make them not like something. Yeah, I'm intrigued in that concept. Yeah. I've read the 48 Laws of Power, you know?
Yeah.
48 more than I read.
I think once once that episode from our work was in the can, so to speak, Mortios. I think it was just sort of
In the can.
hoping that it's received well, because it's taking a big swing, and you read that script, and I think the day I showed up to record, they said, this is our first episode that's going to have a trigger warning at the top. And there's a bit of a weight that sets in, I think, after the fact, thinking, okay, this is one of those moments that people are going to think about with this show, that it's done in the past, where it doesn't pull any punches. It really goes for something deep and in our truth. And I think you're just hoping that that episode reaches people in the right way. I think it did. I mean, I think that it had a lot to say, and I think it brought a lot to light. So I'm hoping that, as the show has for so many for years, messages like that can be received. And, the bathroom humor is all fun and good, but I'm glad that our show has something to say. And I think that's a great, episode example of that. Yeah.
Yeah, that man. I think I went back and forth between being like, this is great, it's a classic Rick and Morty episode, ha 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 ha, and then just being like, wow, that really hit me. Like, damn, it's so heavy, and it really, it does. It really has something to say, and it's just, and it makes you think and think twice about things. And I was like I was on vacation. I said this yesterday at our panel, but I was on vacation with my fiance's family, and I got that script and I read it, and I was just kind of like out of it for the rest of the day after reading that. And everyone was like, "What's going on?" I was like, "I literally am legally not allowed to tell you." Why I'm like so bummed out. I did not tell them. But also, and like I hadn't even met Ian yet. Like I hadn't even met you yet. I didn't have anybody to talk to about it with, so I was just like ruminating with this insane episode.
Like when I saw The Substance 2 days ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You're not gonna get me to see it.
I don't think I can never eat turkey again.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. What? You're not gonna get me to watch it.
Anytime we're reading through a script and we see a music cue that says Mazzy Star, buckle up.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a couple of those.
Yeah.
That's real.
I know they write the whole season in advance, but I was wondering, like, for instance, when you get a script like that, do you have any opportunity to suggest changes to the writers or have conversations with the writers about something they could make better?
I'm never gonna do that.
No.
At your own risk.
Yeah, in television particularly, the writers and creators of shows have the most power. Actors don't. It changes in film. Directors and producers have more say over what is put into the film at the end of it. And studios, if you're lucky enough to have a studio backing your film. But we're not a part of the writing process. And when we come in to record, they've very much been through like about 10, maybe even 20 rewrites on a script. So we don't really have a lot of input at that point. I can say, I'm probably not gonna say in every line in this episode, right? That'll be the most, they're like, oh, we didn't even realize, because they just like get used to hearing it a certain way. They don't realize that that's going on with that particular, until like maybe I come in and say something. But generally, no. Yeah, in terms of the story. I can, and actually anyone who suggests anything anywhere in any forum, whether it's on Reddit or via email or via a letter, they don't open or read them or anything, because they would be potentially liable for a lawsuit So actually, there's like no crossover there unless you're hired as a writer. Yeah.
Yeah, there's very strict union rules of who can actually contribute to a script.
Yeah.
Because who gets credited for the ideas, things like
yeah.
that.
And then they have to pay you if they take your idea.
And same thing, if we were to improv a song, that song would then become, covered under a certain contract.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different rules there. A lot of the fun is being able to deliver an improvisational tone on writing that has gone through several iterations. So if it sounds like it was off the cuff, that's the job.
Yeah. I was going to say, there was an earlier question where I wish there was more option for you to kind of like create an episode like, the interdimensional cable episodes that were like improvised at the time. That would be fun if we had that opportunity at some point in the future to kind of like, there was more before we would record before. Now they record we record the final episodes a lot later. And there was more time and opportunity for us to kind of like riff on a character. Like Kari yesterday in our panel had said she had just been riffing on, the car, because she does the voice of the car. And the reason that the Keep Somewhere Safe episode happened was because they were like, oh, it'd be really funny if we gave the car an episode, because she had such a great personality. And there's less of that now as the show has been more established. But I wish we would have that more, we had more creative input in the earlier seasons as characters on the show. Yeah.
I was wondering if you would ever cosplay your characters. Also, get a screen for your drain. It'll catch the hair.
That's what I do.
Yeah. I do, but it gets through. It's like in every drain.
Yeah, sure.
It's not just me. Other people live in my house, okay? It's not just...
You have 4 cats.
And the cats get in the bath, too.
It's all cat hair.
Yeah, it's all cat hair.
God.
That would be even worse.
Every now and then a new cat forms in the drain and then comes out.
I vacuum so much.
only
Yeah,
had 2
there's
last
just
year.
one.
Yeah,
There's
it's more and
that's
more
where the
cats.
cats
Every
keep
time
coming
Ian
from. They just
visits.
crawl out of the drain into my house. And
People don't
just
know
like-
that's how cats are made.
And now
so.
that, I'm gonna have nightmares, you guys, later about like a giant cat drain animal.
Excellent.
Jeez. Sorry, did you have a question? Thank you so much. I will.
Would you cosplay your characters?
Oh, yeah.
Ian and I did it.
Yeah.
You guys
so,
did
so
last year.
Harry and I went down to San Diego Comic-Con this year and hid in plain sight and took a bunch of selfies with people. They had no idea.
Great.
It was awesome.
I did for a photo shoot once or something.
You did?
Yeah. But I had like really short hair, so they had to like put a wig on, I guess.
Oh my
kinda.
God.
But I would, sure. Yeah, she's just in a pink tank top and white pants. It's not like not too difficult. I could like make my hair a little more strawberry blonde, really commit.
Come on.
But I'd have to like, I don't know, paint on Jerry's face or whatever. So,
Nah, you don't have to go that hard.
no.
Who was the most memorable guest voice actor that you guys have gotten to work with?
We don't really.
we don't work
Unfortunately,
with
yeah.
anybody.
Just go
It's all solo
into a
in the booth.
room
Yeah.
alone. Yeah.
It was cool to have Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah, episode 1 of season 7, Hugh Jackman, it's a pretty big name for that. So it was
Yeah.
Otherwise, you've never been in the same room as them, or
No, we're
No,
never-
unfortunately. I
we
mean,
meet
it's,
some people here.
yeah, there's some
at
people
these
at cons.
conventions.
Yeah.
We're like, oh hey, so thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, we're never in the same. Unless I like snuck into the Zoom call with the director and writers. Sometimes my friends will let me. They've been like, hey, do you want to come watch this guy record? I'll be like, maybe.
I want to do that.
Yeah, I'd love if they had a little scheduling mishap one day and we ended up,
Oh no.
hi, you.
I recently had somebody say they love like, who is the woman who did the character where she goes like, hello?
Oh, who is that? I don't know.
She's in like the White Lotus and everything. She won for the White.
Oh,
It's Jennifer Coolidge, right?
Jennifer
Yeah, yeah.
Coolidge. Yeah, that was
didn't
cool.
know that was her.
That's Jennifer Coolidge.
Yeah.
I had no idea. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, now you know.
Now I know. Look, I'm learning things.
Who else has been on the show? There's like so many.
Peter
great-
Dinklage was on it.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
think
For
he
your-
was my favorite
for your
because I
episode.
loved
Give
his
back and forth.
performance as like the bad guy in the Die Hard episode, right?
Doing
So and he
Die
was so
Hard.
good.
That's great.
I don't know. And Susan Sarandon is great.
Yeah, yep.
I don't even know the real name of that guy, but Silverthroat. I just call him now.
Silverthroat. Keith
He
David.
was
Oh,
at
no,
the
Keith David.
Christmas.
President.
Yeah, Keith. Yeah, he's the
President
president.
Curtis.
He's great.
Incredible, yeah.
He's lovely. I only just officially met him at the Christmas party, the Rick and Morty holiday party. but I called him Silver Throat.
You
I didn't
did?
even because I was like, I don't remember your
That's
name,
so
but
awesome. I mean, it's such a cool name.
I was like, we love all the guest stars. Like I was giving some stupid speech, you guys. It was very fun. We have a really rockin' holiday party. It's pretty epic.
it was lit. It was lit.
It's pretty. We go hard.
Yeah.
If only I could remember it.
Yeah. The party itself wasn't as lit as Ian was.
Yeah.
Stop disrupting my wholesome image.
But no, we never meet them. We never meet any. We don't even do it in the same booth together.
We
don't even record.
Yeah, we're never
These
recording
conventions are where we spend the most time together.
What was a rewrite that really stood out to you during season 7?
I can't really think of anything like it. The thing is, it wasn't, at least to my eye, there were never any rewrites where it was like, oh, we just got a rewrite and now everything's different. Like, it was more just like, we did another rewrite, we're punching up the dialogue, we added a joke here, we cut this line because it took air out of or we're taking air out of the scene, you know? It's usually stuff like that, you know? Because the ideas in the scripts, like, again, they go through, like Spencer said, so many rewrites before we even get it, that they have pretty much like the plot, the story beats, and most of the jokes kind of done already. It's really just tightening stuff up at that point. So nothing to me, I don't know about you guys, like stood out like that.
I honestly can't remember the episode, but it was many seasons ago where like the show was airing in like 2 days, or like, and I came in, and they were like, we just want your line to change, so I had to like match it to the lip movement, which it was very rare that we would do that because we record so much in advance and they match it to our dialogue. But it was like, no, and it was funnier. It was actually a funnier joke, and that was like, but it was, I think, the day before it aired.
That's crazy.
Which was really crazy. I don't remember which one it was. I'd have to go back. It was like maybe in season 3 or 4. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, the only thing I can remember for like, what's a good one? Like, I don't know. Yeah, it's usually if like somebody started yelling in the scene and I wasn't yelling in the scene, I gotta come back and be yelling. That's typically what happens. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be chunks of 2 or 3 lines that you know, just to make it a little clearer or get there faster. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Question.
All right, guys, so thank you guys for coming out today. They're going to be doing photo ops at 12:15, and then they'll be signing the rest of the day at their tables. Come out, say hi, ask them some questions, get something signed, and thank you guys for a great panel.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for coming. If you're not staying for the next panel, please clear the room.